Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be diving deep into something pretty cool, optimizing language-based AI agents.
Yeah.
Hold
Think
on.
like chatbots and virtual assistants, but
Yeah,
way more advanced.
exactly. And we've got this awesome research paper all about a new method called semantic gradient descent.
Yeah,
So by the end, you'll know how it works and why everybody's talking about it.
it's a big deal for sure.
For sure.
Especially, as these AI agents become more and more part of our lives.
Okay, so to kind of set the stage, imagine these AI agents as super complex machines with all these interconnected parts.
Yeah, like a network almost.
Right. And each part needs to be fine-tuned to work perfectly with the others.
Yeah, it's like tuning an instrument.
Yeah, like every little adjustment affects the whole thing.
Exactly. Each adjustment impacts the overall sound, so to speak.
And in this case, the sound is how well the AI understands and responds to you.
Right. And the challenge is that the traditional methods for fine-tuning these agents, they're not always that effective.
Yeah, they miss.
Yeah.
Some of the nuances of how language really works.
It's like trying to tune a piano with a hammer, I guess.
Oh, that's a good one.
You might get a sound,
Yeah.
but it's not going to be a masterpiece.
That's where semantic gradient descent comes in. This new method, it's way more precise.
It is.
Because it uses something called semantic gradients.
Yeah, think of those as like directional signposts within the language itself.
Right.
Guiding the AI how to adjust its internal settings to be more accurate and more helpful.
Okay, so these signposts are figured out through a process called semantic backpropagation.
Right. Imagine sending feedback signals backwards through the AI's decision-making process.
Oh.
Like ripples in a pond.
Yeah.
These signals, they pinpoint exactly where adjustments need to be made.
So it's not just like randomly tweaking things.
No, it's not random at all.
It's really about understanding the ripple effect of each adjustment.
Right. And this is where it gets really interesting, I think.
This is where neighborhood conditioning comes in.
Right. So it's different from what came before.
Think about it this way. If you're trying to understand a sentence, you don't just look at each word in isolation.
Right.
You look at the words around it for context.
Totally.
Semantic gradient descent works in a similar way. It considers how each component of the AI agent influences and is influenced by its neighbors.
The paper had a great example with a user query, the AI's answer, and an instruction.
Yeah, it really highlighted.
It showed how the older methods would totally miss important information.
Yeah, by not considering this neighborhood effect.
Okay, so that's why this attention to detail leads to better results.
Each component works in harmony with the others.
Like a well-rehearsed orchestra or something.
Exactly.
But how do we know that this actually works in practice? I mean, they put it to the test, right?
Oh, yeah, they did. And the results are quite impressive.
So they used
what are called benchmark data sets, which are like standardized tests for AI.
Okay, so they're not just theoretical. No, these tests represent a variety of real-world challenges, like solving complex math problems to understanding really intricate language tasks.
And the results are that semantic gradient descent is consistently beating out the competition.
Oh, yeah, and sometimes by a landslide.
Like, for example, in one test, it achieved 93.2% accuracy,
Right.
while others were stuck in the 70s and 80s.
It's a huge difference.
It's huge.
It really highlights the potential of this method to create AI agents that are significantly smarter and more capable than what we have now.
I was really intrigued by that experiment with the LIRR dataset.
Oh, yeah, that's a cool one.
That makes it special.
The LIRR dataset is designed to test an AI's ability to figure out if political statements are true or false.
Oh, wow.
And it's a perfect test bed because it involves breaking down a really complex task into these smaller steps, which is how real-world AI agents often operate.
So it's not just about understanding language.
No, it's not.
It's also about reasoning and critical thinking.
It is.
And even in this really challenging scenario, semantic gradient descent did really well.
It really proved its worth.
So they actually did a study where they took out different parts of the method.
Yeah, like taking apart an engine to see how each piece contributes.
And the results show that every component is really important.
Especially
that neighborhood conditioning we were talking about.
Yeah, and that's a critical insight for anybody working on building these next-generation AI agents.
This is also fascinating, and I'm already thinking about the implications. But before we do that, let's really dig into how semantic gradient descent actually works.
Yeah, let's get into the nuts and bolts.
So join us for part 2, where we'll get a little bit more technical.
Sounds good.
All right, see you there.
See you there.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it feels like we've opened up this black box of AI.
Yeah.
And now we're getting to see all the intricate mechanisms inside.
That's a good way to put it.
I'm really excited to dig into the technical specifics of how this semantic gradient descent actually works.
Yeah, let's get granular.
Yeah, so we know semantic backpropagation, it's all about figuring out how to tweak each part of the AI agent to make it work better.
Like sending feedback signals back through this web of interconnected parts.
Right, but what are those signals exactly?
Those signals are what we call semantic gradients, and they're not just numbers. They're expressed in a way that the AI can actually understand and act on.
So it's like...
Think of it as giving the AI specific instructions on how to improve itself, often in the form of natural language prompts.
So, for example, like if the AI gets a math problem wrong.
Right. The semantic gradient might say, pay closer attention to the order of operations.
Oh, wow.
It's like having a built-in coach that speaks the AI's language.
So it's not just being told it's wrong, it's actually being given guidance on how to improve.
Exactly.
But how does it figure out those precise instructions?
The process draws inspiration from calculus, specifically the chain rule.
Okay.
You don't need to be a math whiz to understand the basic idea here.
Okay.
It's about recognizing how changes in one part of a system can ripple through and impact other parts. Got it. So like a domino effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You nudge one domino and it triggers a chain reaction down the line.
So tweaking one part of the AI agent can have this effect on other parts?
Exactly. And that's where the concept of backward functions comes in.
Okay.
Each component of the AI has a corresponding backward function, and these functions help calculate the semantic gradient, taking into account not only the feedback on the output, but also the influence of its neighboring components.
So that's where that neighborhood conditioning we were talking about comes in.
Exactly.
It's about looking at the whole context, not just isolated parts.
Exactly. Traditional methods often miss this crucial interplay.
Yeah, they treat each component like it's on its own.
Like a lone wolf.
Yeah.
But semantic backpropagation recognizes that these components are part of a team. Their interactions matter. The backward functions capture these relationships, making sure that the semantic gradients reflect this true interconnectedness of the AI's structure.
Okay, so we use this semantic backpropagation to get these language-based feedback signals.
The semantic gradients.
Right, for each component. But then how does the AI actually use this feedback to improve itself?
Right. This is where the semantic gradient descent part comes in.
This is where it gets meta.
It's an iterative process that happens in steps. So the AI tackles a task, produces an output, then receives feedback based on that feedback. It uses semantic backpropagation to calculate those semantic gradients for each component.
So it's like the AI is analyzing its own performance.
Exactly. It's identifying its weaknesses.
And figuring out how to get better.
And the semantic gradients provide the blueprint for improvement.
Okay.
And the AI uses these gradients to update its own parameters.
Whoa, so it's like...
Parameters are like internal settings that control how it operates.
So it's literally rewriting its own code.
Yeah, it's tweaking its own internal mechanisms based on the feedback it receives.
That's pretty wild.
It's remarkable. It processes new queries, receives feedback, computes those semantic gradients, and updates its parameters. It's a continuous cycle of learning and refinement.
So it just keeps getting better.
And with each iteration, it gets better and better at its task.
Even with this genius process, you still need the right tools, right?
Absolutely. The type of language model used plays a huge role in how well this whole method works.
The paper mentioned the importance of choosing the right language model for both running the tasks and for the backward process.
It's like having different specialists on a team.
Uh-huh.
You need your workhorses to be efficient, but you also need your strategists to be brilliant.
I like that.
For semantic backpropagation, where the AI needs to really understand the feedback and craft those semantic gradients, a more powerful language model is essential. It's better equipped to handle complex language tasks, even if it's a bit slower. The researchers behind semantic gradient descent actually combine different language models in their experiments. They chose a faster one for the task execution and a more powerful one for semantic backpropagation.
So it's all about finding the right balance.
Exactly.
This is all so fascinating, but I'm already thinking about the bigger picture.
Yeah, me too.
What are some real-world scenarios where this could be revolutionary?
Let's dive into those practical applications and potential impact in Part 3.
Sounds good. Let's do it. All right, so we're back, and we've been talking all about semantic gradient descent and how it's making AI agents smarter and more helpful.
It's pretty amazing stuff.
It is. But even with these advancements, there are still challenges.
Oh, for sure. Like anything new, there are hurdles that researchers are working to overcome.
Like we were talking about needing those powerful language models, especially for that backward process.
Yeah, semantic backpropagation. It can be computationally expensive.
Could this be a problem for wider adoption of this method?
It's possible, while using a more efficient model for the actual tasks helps the backward process where the AI analyzes its performance and creates those improvement instructions, it still requires a lot of computing power.
Right, and as the AI agent and its tasks get more complex,
Exactly.
so does the demand for resources.
Researchers are definitely exploring ways to streamline this process, but it's a key area of focus.
It's like we have this amazing race car, but we need a whole power grid to charge it up.
That's a great analogy.
The potential's there, but the infrastructure needs to catch up.
For sure.
It makes me think about potential for bias.
Oh, yeah.
If the language model used for semantic backpropagation has biases, could those biases end up in the AI agent's behavior?
That's a really important point, and it highlights why it's so crucial to use carefully curated data to train these language models and to develop techniques to minimize bias.
Because we want these AI agents to be helpful for everyone.
Absolutely not perpetuating societal biases.
Right, it's like making sure the AI is learning from the best teachers.
Exactly.
So despite these challenges, there's a lot of excitement around the future of semantic gradient descent.
Oh, yeah. Tons.
What research avenues do you find particularly promising?
One area I'm really excited about is exploring how semantic gradient descent can be applied to teams of AI agents.
Like a bunch of specialized AI agents working together.
Exactly. Each one a master in its own domain, learning from each other.
So like an AI dream team.
That's it. Each member brings unique skills to the table, and they constantly improve as they learn from each other.
Wow, the possibilities are kind of mind-boggling.
They really are. Another exciting direction is finding ways to integrate human feedback directly into the optimization process.
Oh, so instead of just relying on metrics or goals?
Right. What if we could incorporate human insights and preferences directly into the loop?
That would be amazing.
It would guide the AI's development in a more human-centered way.
It's like a constant feedback loop between humans and AI.
Exactly. Ensuring the AI develops in a way that aligns with our values.
That's really important.
It really underscores the need for collaboration between AI researchers, ethicists, and social scientists as we move forward with these powerful technologies.
Like a team of experts.
Exactly, ensuring these advancements benefit everyone.
Well, it's clear that semantic gradient descent is just the beginning.
It's a whole new frontier.
It's like we've discovered a new element, and we're just starting to explore its potential.
It's a really exciting time to be working in this field.
Absolutely. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into semantic gradient descent. We hope you enjoyed exploring this topic with us. And remember, in this rapidly evolving technological landscape, it's up to all of us to think critically about these developments and work together to shape the future of AI in a way that benefits everyone. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, keep diving deep.